At your October 27th meeting, the council directed staff to further analyze the recent historic data used to project household and employment numbers and make the appropriate adjustments. These projections will be used as a starting point for for S.C.A.G to update their regional transportation plan and sustainable community strategies in compliance with AB 32 and SB 375 requirements. The council also directed staff to prepare the draft letter to S.C.A.G for review, and it's been attached to your agenda packet. It provides in detail the city's methodology and basis for the adjusted numbers. The staff, per the council's direction, staff factored that in the last 3 years there was a net zero occurrence of new households in Sierra Madre. To break it down, in 2007 there were 4 new households created. In 2008 there was a net -4, and how that comes to be is that there are 2 new households that was constructed in 2008 and 6 demolished, with a net difference of 4. In 2009 there was a -1 unit, a demolition. For multifamily residential households there in the last 3 years, the data reflects that there was also a net zero number of households. Therefore, it is a reasonable assumption to project that in the next 3 years there will be a net zero increase in the number of households, especially due to the current and near economic conditions, future economic conditions. Using this analysis and this basis, staff projects that 72 new households may be created in the next 11 years. That's by the year 2020, which aligns with the RTP, Regional Transportation Plan, and the SBC 375. To give you background on where 72 was, how it was derived, is we took, in projecting the next 11 years, that goes to 2020, we subtracted out 3 years, stating that it's a reasonable assumption that there would be no new net units in the next 3 years. That leaves a balance of 8 years. And using the averages in the last 6 years of new single-family homes and new multifamily homes, we came up with the 8 years times 4 new single-family units equals 32. 8 years times 5 multifamily units, again, that's the average in the last 6 years, equals 40. You add those numbers together and it comes to 72. S.C.A.G's household projection based on their numbers was 140 by year 2020. So staff feels this is a substantial reduction, but also a more accurate representation based on recent historic data. For employment projections, it was adjusted for the year 2020 based on a reasonable assumption that one of the potential future larger projects that will occur after 2020, again due to the economy, high cost of raw land and density restrictions. Staff projects employment numbers to increase by 82 by the year 2020 and 87 by 2035. S.C.A.G's employment projection is 267 by year 2020. Again, staff's efforts in adjusting the household numbers show a substantial reduction to the numbers in comparison to S.C.A.G's projection. And staff feels that these adjusted numbers will yield a more accurate representation. The council must keep in mind that, as provided at the last meeting, that S.C.A.G is asking that they have a deadline by November 13th to submit, should we submit, our local input to S.C.A.G. I do want to remind the council that these are not numbers that staff derived, in terms of these are numbers that S.C.A.G have provided to the city and provided to the city to review and provide our local input should we decide to provide our local input. So this is really staff's best efforts in looking at numbers in which we feel we can justify, and that's reflected in the letter. Staff does seek your direction on the draft letter and your direction on whether to proceed in submitting this draft letter to S.C.A.G.